Hey friends, I got some mail a few days ago, but I didn't open it then because I kind of know what's in it, and I'm not really interested in what's in it. But I thought maybe you'd be entertained if I opened it here. Does this sound fun? Yeah, I'm gonna open my mail. So this comes from Richard Carrier. It's been sent to the wrong address, but that's okay because in Morris, everyone knows where I live. There was no problem getting here. Let's see what's in it. What do you? Okay. Oh boy. Here we go. United States District Court for the District of Minnesota. It's handwritten in there. How weird. Anyway, notice of a lawsuit and request to waive service of a summons. And there's a lawsuit has been filed against you or the entity you represent in this court under the number shown above, etc., etc., etc. There's stuff I'm supposed to sign. Do I care? Let's see. Waiver of the service summons. How many copies have I got? Okay. Now we get down to the meat of it all. Okay. The plaintiff is Richard C. Carrier, PhD, residing at, I'll tell you that. The defendant is me. Now he brags a little bit about all the stuff he's done and published. He's complaining specifically about a blog post entitled Richard Carrier's Blog, which contained defamatory statements. What else has he got to complain about? Because there's a bunch of other parties in this, and it talks about the previous case. Statement, yeah, blah, blah. Legalese, it goes on. Evidence of actual malice. Oh. And he cites Ken White. Okay. Well, looking for anything meaty here. Just on and on, whining. Why did I even have to open this? I'm bored. Okay. Count 1, defamation per se. Or per se. Count 2, defamation per quad. Whatever that means. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Negligent infliction of emotional distress. Let's see, what is he asking for? For count 1, he's asking for $500,000. For count 2, $500,000. For count 3, he's asking only $150,000. And for count 4, $100,000. Okay. And includes a copy of the offending blog post. Look at there, it's a whole 5 paragraphs. Horrifying. That's worth a couple $1 million. All right. That's all it is. Yeah, we get this in the mail all the time. That, don't you? $1 million lawsuits dropped in your lap. Okay. That's my excitement. Darn. No surprises at all in this thing. I was hoping there'd be this pleasant surprise where you'd say, oh, well, never mind. But no, he's going to sue me for a few million. He won't succeed. So let me give you a little background here. Richard Carey used to be on our Free Thought Blogs network, but one sad morning, we got an alert that he'd been banned from a conference, Skepticon, for sexual harassment. And as you might guess, that's one of the things we kind of oppose on our blog network. And then we heard from several other people who were complaining about him. So these are serious charges. We immediately suspended his posting privileges, and then we convened a committee to review the accusations. There was no rush to judgment, but this is the kind of thing we're going to take very, very seriously. There's a possibility we could have found out that these were baseless accusations, but no investigation took place because almost immediately he demanded that we restore his privileges, and he blustered a bit about suing us. And a little later, even more disgustingly, he informed us that he had specific stories about the sexual activities of one of the people behind the ban, and he threatened to reveal them. This was not the kind of behavior that would lead us to give him the benefit of the doubt. Then he did both, suing me, Free Thought Blog, Stephanie Zvan, The Orbit, Lauren Lane, Skepticon, and Amy Skiba for $2 million. His price has gone up since then. He also included rather lurid descriptions of his sexual encounters as evidence. Apparently, if a woman consents to have sex with him once, she has lost the right to spurn him later, and he has the right to try and shame her for ever actually finding him attractive. His legal filings are basically revenge porn. We formed a team, one for all and all for one, all that, and we hired a badass lawyer, Mark J. Randazza, who has a ferocious reputation as a defender of free speech. We discussed a multi-level defense to get his case dismissed, and after a year or so of legal wrangling, we succeeded, and we figured we were done. Carrier now claims we got him on a technicality, and that's true. The case was dismissed without prejudice on the basis of inappropriate venue. The thing is that this was just the first gentle poke from our lawyer, and right away his entire case collapsed. Now he's back. He's suing 3 of us. So because it was a venue problem, he's suing the 3 of us separately in our home states. So he's suing me, Lauren Lane, and Amy Skiba separately. It's for a total of something like $4 million. So his case is still feeble. We've still got our same badass lawyer who seems eager to chew him up, and he no longer has a lawyer and is representing himself. I'm sure there's a story there why his lawyer did not continue with the case. Even if I knew nothing about the case, though, at this point I'd prophesy catastrophe for him. It's curious, too. He's claiming he's innocent of harassment and that we unfairly accused him. But his entire lawsuit is an example of ongoing harassment. We were happy to drop him, not bothering to discuss him anymore, not even including him in our prayers, yet he persists. In his documents, he includes examples of long email exchanges in which the women he's hitting on politely demur, yet he keeps going and going and going and going. He has no idea when to shut up, and he figures that since he was cordial in the email, it can't be harassment. He's a sea lion in a fedora saying "Milady." I almost feel embarrassed for him. Almost. And he includes more lurid accounts of his sexual encounters. I'm not going to repeat any of it because, like I said, he's using the legal system to propagate revenge porn. His entire suit simply confirms that he is creepy, harassing, and poor at recognizing boundaries, all the things we rightly accused him of. So another lesser problem I have is that he's a failed academic. He has a PhD in ancient history and has no professional affiliation with any university, which would be fine. But he persists in pretending he is a serious scholar. Let me just tell you that if a real academic, one with professional obligations, got on the internet to publicly beg for sexual favors at a conference he was attending, there would be a disciplinary committee waiting for him when he got back, and he'd probably end up fired. Real academics are expected to be slightly less blatant. That's the politest way I can put it. There have been a number of cases of academics being this bad, but we're expected to be on better behavior. He's not restricted in any way. So I can see why he's reduced to the role of itinerant atheist, wandering the earth, trying to find people willing to pay to hear his theories and give him a table to sell his book. It's rather sad. Then his theories are very much on the fringe. He's a Jesus mythicist, which appeals to some atheists, but not many historians. The problem here is that it's an unresolvable debate. On one side, his side, he argues that Jesus was a completely invented figure with no basis in an actual historical person. Okay, this is not entirely ridiculous. Human beings do invent fantastic individuals out of whole cloth, so he could be right. On the other side, there's the argument that, well, Jesus could easily have been a real person. The core of the story, that a somewhat revolutionary Jewish rabbi annoyed the establishment to the point where they crucified him, is fairly mundane and unexceptional. So such a person could have existed, and then myths and prophecies and hyperbole got attached to him. This is also a reasonable expectation. The historical Jesus hypothesis has the advantage that what historical information we do have talks about him as a single individual at one place and one time. The mythical Jesus hypothesis relies on reading between the lines, or such silly stuff as a Bayesian analysis of phenomena where none of the probabilities are known. While I'm sympathetic to Jesus mythicism, in the sense that it's not impossible, I, a non-historian and therefore not much of an authority, favor the Jesus historicity claims for a couple of reasons. First, resolving the difference would require concrete historical evidence, which is not going to be available in the murk of the past, and which the mythicists don't seem to be pursuing. Endless theological hair-splitting over interpretations of the words of a text is something I abandon religion to get away from. And second, and most important, it doesn't make any difference. Seriously, dudes. This is like the least interesting, least significant, least useful issue in atheism. We don't believe in the divinity of Jesus, so it doesn't matter at all if he was a single guy in first century Judea or if he was a composite of multiple figures and legends. We ought to be dealing with the repercussions of an ancient dogma, no matter how it was cobbled together in the past. Yet this tenuous hypothesis is all Richard Carrier has to hang the tattered shreds of his career on. It's such a fragile thread, but it's the only thing holding his overblown ego together, and it seems to be the only line he's got for getting laid. That we challenge him on his unprofessional behavior is what has him riled up and lashing out with ludicrous lawsuits. So I'll just conclude by pointing out to all you free speech warriors out there that we're the ones on the side of free speech, while Carrier is the one trying to silence dissenting views. Carrier is actively demonstrating that he is a chronic harasser with this absurd lawsuit and undermining his own case, so we should also be supported by you SJWs out there. This is something that should bring us all together. Therefore, you should all be donating to our legal defense fund. Link is included below. You can send money to our GoFundMe account or to my PayPal account, Everything sent to me is just getting punted right into covering lawyers' fees now anyway. And one more request. Let's not spread the salacious gossip published in his filings around. One of his goals is to slut-shame and defame anyone who has turned down his sexual advances. And this is just another example of how deplorable he has become. So please go out there and support us, help us out. This is another slam dunk case. We're going to kick him to the curb this time around. Thanks.